Hey everybody, Dan here for Comic Frontline, and it is time for a comic review, and I will be reviewing Canada Jack #2 from Atrophy Press, or Atrophy Comic Studio. Um, basically, as you can see, the premise of the issue on the cover here is Canada Jack, defender of the Great White North, versus North Korea. Okay, and there's a certain North Korean political figure that perhaps plays into the story. Let me go over the creative team here. Creator and writer Travis Tomlin, pencils Barry McLean, color artist Jeremy Bryant, inks Nick Wetland and Barry McLean, letterer Nick Wetland, cover artist Barry McLean, producer Aaron Stone. So, I have to say it's a good creative team. As you can see, and I will show you a bit of the interior artwork that is not too spoilery. I believe, being a comics art connoisseur rather, I believe this is some pretty good art there. I have to say, I really thought the art was very well done. Let's see what else we got. Again, I'm avoiding any panels that might give you a little bit too much of what is going on. Just like this art style. Maybe a little bit Paul Pelletier, if I have to think of someone who might be a little reminiscent of this style, who is one of my favorite comic artists. That's what I'm going to immediately bring up. I mean, it's not really his style, but just in that vein, in that family of comic artists. Let's see. Well, I'll say this, that within the book, okay, Canada Jack is a somewhat zany character, a little bit in the tradition of the Tick, whereas he doesn't think entirely logically. The premise of the story is the fact that I guess North Korea has landed a man on the sun, trying to outdo other countries which put a man on the moon. So now they are declaring that they put a man on the sun, and that the sunshine is now theirs. And obviously the sun is out there shining. Canada Jack, though, does take offense to this and decides that he has to set things right because sunshine is free for everybody. Sunshine is for free people, it says. So, again, that's kind of like in the vein of the Tick. The Tick, though, seemed like his zaniness was a little more restricted to him, where he would be saying, I'm going crazy in a sane world, or actually he said, I'm going sane in a crazy world. This is actually both a little crazy character and a little crazy world, because it seems like some others join in his somewhat, I guess, zany outlook. One of my favorite books being published out there right now, God Hates Astronauts, with Image Comics. And that is another zany book where, again, all just rational, not all rational, but, the rational thought and the logic takes a back seat, and you're just supposed to enjoy the comedy and such. And, to some degree, not quite to that degree as that book has, but Canada Jack does fit into that vein. Um, and there is, I will say, without giving too much away, a wrestling tie-in uh, that I found quite interesting, being a wrestling fan. Uh, and I believe it might even play a part into future issues, from what I've gleaned on the web. That so there might be more of that to come through Canada Jack. And beyond the ending is a bit of a prologue. Uh, we do come to a point in the story which is on another planet. And again, just for art's sake, I'll give you a look at this little planet here. Okay, again, I think the art is just very well done. We can see here that the artist draws females well as males, as he does with Canada Jack. And he does a good job in a variety of, you'll see bigger guys, smaller guys. Sometimes everyone in comics, a lot of times, tends not to vary the body types too greatly. So I think they did a good job with that. Trying to think what else without spoiling the story. Well, basically, again, that's your political leader there, who is the villain, and as you can see, he's got his big bodyguard there, who does seem to have some type of championship belt upon him, making reference to something else I had said. The story progresses well. The lettering is well done because in certain indie books you will have the fact where sometimes the lettering seems askew and you're not quite sure which balloon you're supposed to go to next. I think the production value, I'll say, on the book is very well done. In the fact that, again, the story is well paced, it's clear, and the characters are well represented. Again, in the fact that in some books, I guess it's to be expected that the reader already might know the characters or know what the powers are. Not that there's really a lot of powers going on in here, but you get a sense that you're explained enough of who the characters are that you kind of can understand their place in the story, I'll say. Because I did somewhat recently read another indie book where it had some superpowered beings, and you could see that there were certain characters where their powers were never on display, and you had no idea after reading what their power was, which can be, like I said, a drawback if you don't get enough characterization and, at least when a character is introduced, such as Canada Jack's, I won't call him a sidekick, I'll call him a co-worker or whatever you want to call him. There's enough information within the book to let you know who that is. So, basically, rather than a star system or anything like that, I would just say that I would look forward to another issue of Canada Jack. So that's basically, with so many books to read, if I'm, looking forward to another issue of a book, that's all I can really hope for at this point. Let's see. Just want to give another little look at the art. Here's a nice foot to the face. And again, I like that art. I like how this is. It's very well done. So overall, I'll give a positive review to Canada Jack #2. You can look back or do a search in the archives because I did review Canada Jack #1. Once again, that's from Atrophy Press, or I keep saying that. Atrophy Comics Studio, it actually is. I don't know why I have it in my mind, Atrophy Press. But so yeah, you can look them up. I'll show you. And look it up. Try out issue 1 and 2. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I think you'll have a fun time with it. All right, well, that'll do it for this review. Once again, Dan for Comics Frontline, and you can check me out on my own channel, Argo Comics, ARGO Comics, on YouTube. And keep coming back to Comic Frontline for all your comics news, reviews, and entertainment.